Good evening. This is Jamie Moreno, blog number 2. Um, the first topic that we're going to discuss today is the deinstitutionalization of the mentally ill. Currently, there's more people that feel that the mentally ill should have a different type of rehabilitative program that can help them be released back into the community. Um, that's a great idea because at the end of the day, these people are suffering from an illness. And sometimes when their illness is not under control, they really can't um, acknowledge when they're doing right or wrong, causing some criminal behavior sometimes. Um, the other thing is you have people who, end up institutionalized and are on their medication and are perfectly stable, but every day they wake up and they're with people who are not. So it's really not a way of life. And that would be a really, really good reason why someone would want to push for deinstitutionalization. However, keeping them institutionalized also has its points. There are pros and cons to everything. Keeping them institutionalized would make sure that the threat is no longer out there, that we're safer, because there's always a risk of these individuals being mentally unstable to the point where they cannot get their medications under control. Um, you also run into uh, them reverting back to their old behaviors and committing more crimes. So you really have two situations. Not to mention the fact that these individuals can also, if it seems an easy route, just claim insanity and decide that, what, I'd rather go that route because eventually I'll be rehabilitated out into the community and be released. And that really isn't fair either. You wouldn't want someone to falsely say that they were mentally unstable when really they were not. So you've got pros and cons to both situations. I personally agree with keeping them institutionalized because this was just a safer option. If they come off their meds, if they choose to plead insanity, even though they are not, they're not going anywhere. They're not being released back out into the community to endanger anyone else or commit additional crimes. They're being watched over. I don't believe that a prison type setting in these institutions is necessary, but definitely, not allowing them to come and go as they please, but maybe keeping more of a lax environment, because also at the end of the day, it's not really fair that these people were born with this illness and it's not fair that they cannot control it. But it's also not fair to expose a danger or a threat to the rest of the world. So keeping them institutionalized is the way to go. Uh, Another topic that we're discussing is the moral panic situation. So lately, you've seen an application of deviance created by the media regarding the current caravan situation. We have some illegal immigrants from Honduras who are trying to enter the United States illegally. You've got them in mass amounts, and you see a lot of media spreading information on them about their um, skipping out on tabs, their theft, their vandalism. You've got media reporting on this type of behavior. You have detention centers who are holding these individuals, indicating that they're running into outbreaks of mumps and illnesses that can be spread over here into the U.S. or to the other or the rest of the world, as part of a reason for not letting these individuals come in here. This all comes at a perfect time because we are going through a lot of stuff regarding our government shutdown and whether or not that wall is going to get approved or not. So what better time than now to focus or amplify this deviant behavior in the media so that there is a political advantage to all of this. Um, I believe once we get everything situated and Donald Trump is given his wall, that we'll start to see a lot less and less of this type of media reporting because it will no longer apply to what's going on in the economy. I know that today we actually had our border shut down. You know, they had it barricaded with cement barricades, and they had the barbed wire and the whole bit. It really makes it look like a really hostile and dangerous situation. But, you know, in all honesty, these people are just trying to look for something better. Yeah, you've got some that slip through that are just, you know, just as anybody else. You know, you've got the good and the bad. But these individuals are portrayed to be, you know, dangerous, evil. They went through the extremes of having to barricade with barbed wire and have armed men across the board so that across the barricade to make sure that these people don't gain illegal entry. It really, really looks like a scene out of a movie when the media portrays it. And, you know, what I would have liked to have seen is what happened when they did reach the border. You know, was it peaceful? Was it civil? Did they behave? But again, this is all part of the moral panic that's created when you're running into this situation. So this panic then proves that people should buy into building that wall, because then we'll have less of this situation. So there is definitely a great purpose in why this is done, with the media definitely playing an angle. But the last thing we talk about in this blog here is the reintroduction of early criminologist series. Um, these, I think, are being really, really focused on because um, they help us better understand the criminal behavior, and being able to better understand it will help us prevent it. So there's what's that? The routine activities theory, also referred to as RAT. So this theory indicates that the criminal weighs out the pros and cons of their criminal act. For example, they've looked at the cost and the benefit of committing the crime. So I'll play into example maybe a first time or a drug dealer just starting out. Hey, you know what? I need to make some extra money. I've never been caught before. I have no criminal record. I have a clean slate. So, you know, just lost my job. I'm going to lose my home. My kids got to eat, blah, blah, blah. They decide, you know what? If I sell a little bit of drugs here and there, I can make enough money to get my family back on our feet. If I get caught, it's my first offense. So I'll probably get a slap on the wrist. And if I'm smart, I'll put some money aside and have something stashed away for when I get out, and I'm able to get back on my feet all over again, or leave my family taken care of, or vice versa. So, you know, sometimes these individuals really, really look at the big picture. You know, what am I doing? What is it going to cost me? And is it worth it? So that leads you to believe that criminals are not impulsive, they're actually rational and they think things through. Of course, you've got different types of criminal, but this would give us a great insight on how to better understand some of these criminals. So, if we know that some of these criminals resort to that type of behavior, then maybe it'll help us, you know, offer greater costs for some of the crimes committed. So, versus walking away with a slap on the wrist, and maybe we as a government can then reassess our punishment and indicate a more serious punishment for that matter. And maybe in hopes to get some of these criminals to stay away from that type of behavior and just kind of prevent it altogether. That would be a benefit from bringing back the routine activities theory, or focusing a little bit more attention into it. Um, Thank you for your time today. I hope I've hit all the points. Again, my name is Jamie Moreno, A00014293. Thank you.